Welcome to eVision Live, brought to you from the eVision Institute with Dr. Alexander Kleeberg.
And Dietrich Bussacker, and today with Irene Kite.
Hi. Oh, hi. Sorry, we should redo that.
How do you pronounce your last name?
K.
Dr. Irina K.
K, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Once again. K.
Okay. So,
Let's start again. Okay.
Welcome to eVision Live, brought to you from the eVision Institute with Dr. Alexander Kleeberg
and Dietrich Bussacker, and today we have a special guest, Dr. Irina K.
And Dr. Irene K, I just showed you her website, Married Love Success. So this is a really lovely website. And this brings us to the topic we are about to discuss today. It's revive your love and what has love to do and relationship to do with health. This is our topic. So welcome, Irina. And Irina, to present you a little bit, we got to know you in early November in a conference south of Los Angeles. And well, you're somehow special because you're a medical doctor, but nowadays you're working as a love coach, as a marriage coach. So this is quite something special, and you have quite a bit of certificates. You've written 2 books, which have been bestsellers, and well, you are also have developed your own methods, so the new reviews. So this, I think, this is going to be quite interesting talk we're going to have today. So very happy to have you here. And yes, so maybe you present yourself a little bit. I will switch on to the galleries mode.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate being here with you today and talking about what I do, because I would love to inspire women to have the same relationship that I have with my husband, which is just amazing. And this hasn't been that way all the time. You know, it hasn't been that for a long time. But now it is consistently. I'm consistently happy every single day. And that's for the past more than five years plus.
So that's what everybody wants to have, right?
Yes. And that is what actually inspired me to make this program and to see how we got to where we are and how it was actually, you know, how I allowed to become what I am now, happy in this relationship.
Great. Irina, what was this? Is there any specific incident in your life? Because you have been a medical doctor,
You're from Switzerland,
a genealogist, and you have actually worked probably for I don't know actually for how many years as a medical doctor, and something happened in your life that made you change your approach, the way, because actually what you're doing now also has to do a lot with health.
It sure does. And I think initially I probably have to say of myself, I'm just a healer. I just want to help people, and I was drawn to this field of healing people, and I'm actually a retired OBGYN, so I was drawn to helping women in particular because I felt kind of a kinship, just like there were in Switzerland very many, almost everybody had male gynecologists, and I always felt women felt uncomfortable with males, you know, talking about their intimate issues. So I was very happy to be able to help them in this regard. But then when we moved to the United States, 4 small children and the 5th on the way, I had to say, you know, going through all of this again over here in the States, and we moved because my husband got transferred, would be too much because I didn't want to have my children have an absentee mother. So this is when I basically retired and gave my all to my children, and then still there was that part missing, helping other women, right? So I went actually into the law of attraction coaching first, and then into trauma resolution coaching. And this is where I created my method of neuro youth that you were speaking about, that we can talk about later. on, and I felt the most important thing that happened to me was my own transformation with the relationship, because it was very stressful. You know, the working hours as a doctor are insane. And then raising 5 children, that brought a lot of stress into our marriage. And we started to become like drifting apart, almost like being on parallel tracks. He was focused on his work. I was focused on mine and the children. And the couple time went by the wayside. And as you know, stress is extremely unhealthy.
Yeah.
I'm living proof too, because I got high blood pressure at a very early age, and you know, worse things happen. So the transformation that I had in our relationship is so significant and so important that I felt I had to go and dig deep how it happened and how it could happen faster for others.
So how did it happen? What did you do? What happened?
Yeah, it's kind of insane that I can actually pinpoint the day where it happened. It was basically what many times happens with people when they really hit rock bottom, right? It was, okay, now the children are getting older. They don't really need me as much. And what am I left with? Because I kind of lost myself in the process of always being there for others. And it was like the make it and break it time in our marriage, that I was able to draw from the law of attraction and from the law of allowing, and to saying and opening myself up to be receiving again, even though I didn't want to be vulnerable. It was the time when I had to say, okay, it's either this way or that. But I really didn't want a divorce. I wanted to revive the love in our marriage, and I wanted to feel that again, what we had initially. And it was that allowing and opening up that made us be able to communicate on a very deep level again. And this is what I'd like to
you opened yourself up again for the marriage, or
Yes.
is there something you did?
Yes, it's something I did. I allowed. It was like a mindset shift. It was not something I did physically. It was internal work. It was really a big mindset shift, and working on, like I said, I was a trauma resolution coach, working on all these resentments that I still had, that I brought with me to the present 5 years ago, and letting go of stuff, you know, and that was not easy. But that one evening when it was really, we were trying to figure out what happened, and he actually said, it was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the time where we needed to start talking. And we talked for 3 days and found each other again, because we both were able to open up and be vulnerable and share. And share from such a deep level that we hadn't done for decades.
Beautiful.
And the mindset, or the transformation of mindset, came through the work you did and through the experiences you made there.
Yes, absolutely. With the law of attraction, with the trauma resolution, with the Reiki, I'm also a Reiki master teacher. All of that together, all, you know, inspirations and the meditations and whatever it was all together, yes. And then digging further into how did it happen, you know, later it was crazy. It was like totally in love again, like little teenagers.
Great.
And how does your work look today like? How would you describe it?
My work today and my vision today is to inspire women to live a life where they can fulfill their dreams in happy relationships. And as you know, when a relationship, the primary one, is the one with yourself, that one you have to fix first. And then it kind of ripples out to everything else. So you have the primary relationship. I'm calling myself the primary relationship mentor, is what I'd like to get the women to empower themselves to see that they have value, that they can have their dreams fulfilled, that they can live healthy relationships, and it starts with themselves. And then it goes to the significant other, and then to the family and the friends, and to the community, even to humanity itself.
When I did couple workshops, I did it with a colleague. I was focused on what I call the archetype of youth. Is that because you said you started to be teenagers again, that after 5 children or after a long professional life, you have to start dreaming again and being enthusiastic about something, and not in the mindset, oh, I know how the world is and how my relationship is. You have to open up like a teenager again. Do I understand that right?
You do, absolutely. When I'm saying we were like teenagers against like teenagers in love type of thing, I felt my brain was gone. I mean, I was like, my brain was fuzzy, and you can see it in the pictures that we took that Christmas, which was only like 10 days after. It's like crazy, and I couldn't function. Like, I forgot stuff, and it wasn't just not me anymore because, you know, I usually have a very logical and scientific mind as well, or brain. And it was pretty interesting to me to see that this can happen at my age, you know. That was after almost, 35 years of marriage and the 5 children, like I said.
And but you're still like that?
No, my brain's back on track. My brain is back, but the whole mind has shifted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do want to have my brain. I could talk to you about the theory of relativity and everything. I wouldn't have been able to do that 5.5 years ago during that time. And it lasted quite a few weeks.
When you're now together, you're not like teenagers anymore.
It's a mature love, but it's still like that. It's still, people look at us and say, you lovey-dovey, somebody, you know, people, or like you're such a cute couple or whatever. Yes, definitely it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, right.
In my health programs, it's very important to keep this archetype of youth alive, actually till your last day on earth. There are more archetypes, like the archetype of wisdom, which might be mature love, or the archetype of childhood, but the archetype of youth, I think, is very, very important for relationships.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, but I believe both are possible in the same person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
I think I could be the archetype of wisdom at the same time as having having the archetype of youth.
I think this is the idea that you live both at the same moment.
No, that you can choose.
And you can choose.
Can choose. Like we will be at a funeral in 2 days, so we won't choose the archetype of youth when we go there, but maybe the archetype of wisdom for letting go. But I think a mature person is somebody who can choose which archetype he or she wants to live.
Well, this is exactly what you get that exactly right, if I may say so, because it is indeed our choice. It is a real choice, and that's something I went into when I studied the neuroscience about all of these things, the neuroscience of memory, the neuroscience of trauma and all that. It is your choice to change that, and you can.
And is there a neuroscience to your program, or that you say, oh, I work with these neuroscientific research or insights?
Yes, definitely. This is why I call it NeuroYouth, kind of rejuvenating your neural pathways in the brain, because you know that experiences leave imprints in the brain, and your neural network gets connected in certain ways because of your experiences. And when they're intense enough, they're there to stay unless you do something about it. And that was what has proven, you know, with science. Initially, maybe 10, 20 years ago, we didn't think that the brain could change. We didn't think there would be neurons even generated, or, you know, that they could regrow, but they do. And it is your choice to think the positive thoughts until they become habit, and new pathways are established. And you can do this. And it's not easy to do that on your own, but this is why I have this method, NeuroYouth, where basically it's a guided meditation with people that combines the trauma resolution with the law of attraction, with the Hawaiian Ho'oponopono technique, and my own influence, you know, from my experience and how to address these issues and rewire the brain.
That sounds very, very thrilling, and it sounds like a lot of couples need that, at least in Germany, I would think. There are a lot of couples that are fighting all the time, and they don't really love their relationship. And I think in America, it's pretty much the same, maybe even worse in some parts.
I don't know if it's worse or if it's just that here people are feeling more entitled, and in that time, you know, they're not willing to stick it out and they just get a divorce or something. Definitely in Switzerland, it was that way when I was practicing as a physician there, because that's what the women always told me. And it was always the same stories over and over. And it was always the story of not being appreciated for who they are, not being appreciated for what they work, what they do for the children, the household, whatever. It was always an undervaluation until they didn't believe it themselves that they were deserving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I found out with the couple seminars I did is that a lot of people just really lack good information about the female brain, about the male brain, about how relationships work. My vision is that how to structure, how to create relationships should be a subject in schools or in kindergarten, because that's the basis on which we live.
You word in God's ear, right? I couldn't agree more. I think that would be foundational, because I feel any kind of relationship, work, at home, wherever, it's the foundation of humanity. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Humans are tribal animals and they need the relationships. So we should be taught how to be able to communicate. That's a big one, right? The communication from male and female is different. And then you have the misunderstandings and you have the resentments. And if you're not able to talk it out, it'll fester.
Yes. So, and a lot of it is not necessary once you know how the different brains function, I think.
Well, once you know how the different brains function, you understand why, say, he would say what he's saying, yes, and doesn't mean it what I think it would mean if I would say it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So many stories of that we're still happening that way, you know, where I have to catch myself. No, this is not what he meant. It's just what I interpreted because my brain just functions differently, and it does. Yes. And there are physical changes in the brain. I mean, differences in the brain, huge differences.
Absolutely. If I would remember that if I would have had the knowledge I have today, if I would have it had 40 years ago, I don't know how my life would have looked like. I don't even know if I would have met this wonderful lady here next to me, because I might have already gone off with other relationships which didn't work at that time. So, but it's, I think, for me difficult how you teach it to people. If I think about my son, how I can teach this knowledge that I have acquired very painfully over 30, 40 years, how can give this on? So this is also a question that somehow,
Well, you know that you can only show the horse the water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
But I believe the best way to show other people what is possible is to be the role model.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can show, like, I have 2 daughters and 3 sons. And we talk about this stuff all the time. And initially, you know, you're talking about the law of attraction, that your thoughts create your reality, which is really true. Even scientifically, it is just true. They were poo-pooing it all. They all came around because I showed them certain things, even about manifesting on a very low level, if you will. And it works. It does work. And that's what then they go, oh, really? Okay, let me try. And I had just the most beautiful text message from my daughter that you can, you know, you can't wish for more as a mother. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm doing something right now. So yeah, I'm going to continue with this and be the role model and live, and they can see that you live that way in happiness every day.
Mm-hmm. So our topic is health and self-healing. So what have relationships and the way you communicate in a love relationship to do with health?
That's huge, right? I mean, if the relationships are the foundation, if they're off balance, your whole life is off balance, and that impacts your health majorly. I mean, you know what happens if people don't get along. for me, it was, I stuffed my face. I'm a frustration eater. And it was sugar, sugar, sugar. And you know how detrimental to your health that is, even eating sugar. Other people may go to alcohol to numb their pain, or worse, like my sister took drugs, right? Or then on my husband's side, he just chose to focus his whole energy into work.
Yes.
Completely overworked, completely stressed out. And we know that stress is like a killer. Yes, it's huge. That interrelation, if you have a good relationship at home, it will transfer into work. You'll be calmer, you'll be more relaxed, you don't take stuff as personally. It's just, your health is so much better just to begin with, because you have a good relationship with yourself.
I think research just finds out how important relationships are. I just heard a speech a few days ago from an oncologist, a doctor who's treating cancer patients. And he says there is a research in Germany that people who smoke 20, 40, 60 cigarettes a day over 10, 20, 30 years, how much do you think is the risk for them to get lung cancer? Do you have an idea?
I don't know anymore.
He says it's 2%.
Okay.
But from people who are maybe married and somebody died, or somebody passed away or just left, then afterwards the chance of getting cancer is 64%.
Yes, that's insane, right?
So that's relationships, I think they are just finding that out, are much, much more important than cigarettes or alcohol or whatever. If you fix a relationship, I think then you have a really, really good basic for well-being and healing.
Exactly.
And longevity also.
In longevity as well. It's community.
All the longevity research shows it's community, but also let's see, especially the family situation. So that means the relationship in the family, within the couple, is that what actually sustains longevity?
Yes.
It makes sense, doesn't it? That when you feel good about yourself, you have a better immune system.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have resistance to all the negativity in the world. And when you have the resistance, you won't get sick. And obviously then you will live longer. I never get sick.
Yes. And you have less fear. That's also proven. You have less fear if you're not alone. And a lot of the so-called lifestyle diseases, they're based on fear. So if you're together in a sort of harmonious relationship, you have less fear, and that strengthens the immune system.
Majorly, it's less fear, not even because you have to be alone, because you have always somebody in your back, right? You have support, and humans need that to thrive, and not only to live, yes, also. Yeah. Nobody is really made to be a recluse or live alone, which is not. And if you have the support of someone else, you're always kind of in a safe space. It's major.
Yes. So maybe we have a lot of couples watching, or a lot of singles who want to be a couple. Do you have any advices you can give in this short sequence of interview?
Yeah, I was thinking about, you were asking like a secret tip. Well, it's not really that secret, but I think people, when they miscommunicate, and that happens often because of the differences of the female or male brain, you feel you're right, and the other person also feels they're right. Mm-hmm. And then you want to be vindicated, or you want to get an apology, and now we're antagonizing. And sometimes it is just better to be loved than to be right.
Yes, Marsha Rosenberger, I think, said that, right? It's from his book of communication. So,
right.
So the advice would be not to fight, but to love.
To fight, not to fight, but to love, and start loving yourself. Start acknowledging that feeling, and acknowledge also that maybe, just maybe, the other person feels the same way and also feels they're right.
Yes.
So just let it go. I'm not saying don't hash stuff out that needs to be a decision made upon, but not in a negative way. Just do it in a loving way, do it in a kind and compassionate way. Try to see the other person's viewpoint, and then communicate from there, and communicate with love, and just project the love, because that's what initially the foundation is. That's why you got together, right, as a couple.
So that means to remember this maybe teenage or this first love you had, and to nourish these images and memories.
We are so big with the feelings in the law of attraction also. You know, the more you can remember these high vibrational feelings of love and compassion and joy, the more you will feel them, because your brain is used to them and will go to that, because what feels good is aligned with you. You know, you want to feel good. Mm-hmm. And then you can train yourself to not feel good. And I was stupid enough to do that for a while. I always felt like, oh, okay, I'm the victim, I'm the martyr. And no, that's not a good way to do it.
So that would be the idea. Take your old photo album with your partner and look at the pictures where you met, or where your first baby was born, or something like that, or where you danced, or you were on holidays.
Anything that makes you feel better. If you maybe, you know, you're in a spat, you don't want to see stuff with this other partner, with the partner or something, but anything that makes you feel better, start there. If you feel better stepping outside into the sunshine, and or taking a deep breath of fresh air, all that kind of stuff, do that. Once you feel better, then you can go back and communicate differently.
So focus on the good things. The
focus on the good things always.
Mm-hmm.
And be grateful. Be grateful for your many blessings.
Mm-hmm. So let's now focus on revive your love.
Revive it, yes. How do you do that?
You're going to launch soon, I think, if I got it right, a program called Revive Your Love. And
yes.
What is this going to be about?
The idea is that people would come into this course because they feel stuck. They don't know how to get out of this funk. And they will learn how to see the difference between male and female, how to operate from an understanding of why he may do, say, stuff that you feel is unloving or unkind, and why you as a woman may do the same thing to him. It comes across, maybe disrespect comes across as not being loved. So you learn all about that from the neuroscientific standpoint. Mm-hmm. Then we go into the past trauma that you bring into the relationship, many things that happen into your early, childhood, that, right, is what impacts you still today. So there may be reactions that you can't even explain, but they may be being from your early childhood or even further down the line, because we know now that certain habits are genetically passed on. Once you know, you can course correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we'll do exercises, we'll find out each other's love languages, the languages of apology. We have relationship wheels. It's an interactive course.
Mm-hmm.
So it's online, or it's in groups, or it's a live
online in a group. Just like now we are here in Zoom with worksheets. Okay. And then everybody is invited to a live event as well. Okay. Where we go deeper, and it's an implementation event. Yes.
And the live event will be where? At the East Coast, someplace?
Yes, on the East Coast, correct. In the vicinity of Newark Airport.
Okay. And how long is the whole course?
The course is 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the live event is 3 days, which is going to be like
every day, or it's just a week?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
It's every day, or it's once a week?
Oh, the course is once a week with homework in between, like, assignments to work. And there is, so the course, the educational piece, if you will, is once a week. And then there is an additional weekly Q&A where people can come back with questions and, how to implement or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sounds great.
Sounds great and very, very necessary in our society.
And one question to it, Irina, what is your value added? Let's see, what is the difference between you as a relationship coach in this situation and let's see, somebody else? There are many courses like this on the market. So what is your specialty, or what is really the point, what it makes it so special?
You tell me what makes me special. Now, I think what most people don't have is the scientific or medical background.
Yes.
Exactly.
I think this information I found out is very, very, very important to understand men.
Yes, and because that is what why she was doing her couple courses together with a medical doctor, not with me, but with a medical doctor.
And it was so important, the information, the medical and the brain information. I found out it was very, very basic.
We don't know.
Right.
We have never heard this in biology. You don't hear this anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these things were not known back then, right? When I went to med school, this weren't known
exactly.
either.
Yeah.
But now we have so many new discoveries and everything, and it's crazier. It's like a lot of stuff that is, like you mentioned before, how relationships impact health directly. Like you mentioned with the cancer rate, right? This is huge.
Yeah. Exactly.
So your course is special because it has a medical and a brain background.
The medical scientific background.
In your course, I think.
Yes, I think it has the medical scientific background. It also has the trauma resolution, which not everybody has. It has the law of attraction in there as well, which, you know, sometimes it's just, yes, this is law of attraction. Another one, it may be like the Ho'oponopono technique, all based on this. Others, it may just be guided meditations for manifestations or meditations, whatever. I think this is combining everything that nobody else does.
So it's very complex and on very many different layers on which you work.
I believe so, yes.
And I would add to this because we have a teacher in this who has his own practical experience and is so enthused about everything. So this is will be also one of the major, I think, important points for the success of this course.
Thank you.
What is your vision, Irene? If we go 10 years from now, what is your vision?
Oh, I'm going to be happy still with the love of my life. And my children are happy. Their children are happy. It's like love all around. My vision is, you know what? That's what my daughter said. That's why I said this text message was so amazing. I am happy and I'm well adjusted and I don't need more out of life.
Wonderful.
It doesn't matter whether you're a billionaire, you know that so many multimillionaires or whatever, they commit suicide because they're not happy.
Yes.
You know that, like look at actors and whatever. But once you can be happy in a happy, healthy relationship, everything else falls into place.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And I saw you gave a freebie. Let's see. Here it's mentioned. So marriedlovessuccess.com/5-secrets. So we will post it here in the chat, and so people can go to there. That you get the freebie, and then you get the access to get the information about your course. Correct.
Correct. That's right.
Exactly. So, and the course will be when? Will start when about, or what?
We'll start again in February.
Okay.
But we'll repeat it another 2 times this year. So initially, I would just like to talk to people and see whether they're fit for the course, whether, you know, we'll be great to work together. Okay. And yes, I would love to inspire women and couples and men, some special men, to live a happy life with their spouse or significant other.
I wish you all the best. I think you're very, very inspiring and you have the knowledge that the world needs. I think that couple needs, that society needs. I think it's very, very important, and I thank you very much for your research, for building up this program and inspiring people that a healthy, happy relationship is possible.
Yes, but we are also always trying to develop.
Working on it.
We're working on it. So once again, for anybody here, so this is Dr. Irina Kay at marriedlovessuccess.com. So anybody who wants to get into contact with you and with your freebie, marriedlovessuccess.com/5-secrets. you get the freebie from Irina. So thank you so much,
And
Irina.
if Irina can make it, everybody can make it, right?
I'm
She's
sure.
from Switzerland, she went to America and she did it, so I think it's possible.
It is definitely possible.
So
Thank you, Alexandra and Dietrich. Thank you so much for having me. And
Thank you so much.
wish you all the best
thank you.
for your course and open
Thank
your
you
heart
so
and
much.
start.
That's right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks.